Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're really diving into a stack of sources about something truly shocking. It's gripped Minnesota, started a national conversation.
Yeah, this recent shooting attack on two very prominent state lawmakers, just unprecedented.
Exactly.
Right.
So our mission here is to unpack what these reports are telling us, the key details.
Everything from eyewitness accounts, right, to what we're learning about the suspect's alleged motivations from his online stuff.
And the broader impact, too. State level, national level. We're pulling from, police reports, witness statements, the manhunt details, the suspect's online activity reactions. It's a lot.
It is. Okay, let's get into it.
So the attack itself, horrifying, happened Friday, June 13th, 2025. About, 3:45 p.m. Central?
That's right. The sources pinpoint the location, Edinburgh USA Golf Course in Brooklyn Park.
And the victims, State Senator John Hoffman, DFL Champlin, he was 59.
And House Speaker Melissa Hortman, DFL Brooklyn Park, 53. They were finishing up a constituent outreach event.
Meeting with local folks, business leaders. Then the sources say, towards the end, this lone gunman approaches.
Yeah, and eyewitness accounts, they describe it as chillingly deliberate, not random.
It sounds like he just calmly walked up, engaged them in a brief conversation first.
Apparently. Sources mention a verbal exchange, possibly heated, reportedly about his grievances, whatever they were.
And then just open fire.
Yes. According to the reports, brandished a firearm, started shooting, no warning.
Both were hit, critically wounded.
Mm-hmm. First responders were quick, got there, gave aid, and then they were rushed to a nearby hospital.
Which, tragically, brings us to the awful news later that evening.
Yes. Despite everything, State Senator John Hoffman, he succumbed to his injuries Friday night. Multiple gunshot wounds.
Such a loss. The sources really emphasize that. For the DFL party, the legislature, his constituents in District 36.
Champlin, Brooklyn Park, parts of Anoka County. He'd served since 2013.
Right. Well-respected, dedicated, known for his work on education, especially for individuals with disabilities. Vice chair of Higher Ed Committee, too.
And the tributes, as the sources note, pouring in from everywhere, across the political spectrum.
Absolutely. Now, Speaker Hortman, what's the latest from the reports?
Well, she suffered severe injuries, obviously, but the reports say she's in stable condition, expected to make a physical recovery.
Thank goodness for that. Though the emotional, the psychological toll, unimaginable.
Absolutely. For her, her family, her husband Mark, the reports say, has been right there with her.
And we have to mention the source that highlight this too, the heroism of that off-duty officer.
Right. Unnamed, but happened to be at the golf course, immediately engaged the shooter.
Disrupted the attack, forced him to flee. Authorities think that action was critical.
It very likely prevented more casualties. Absolutely crucial.
So attention then turns immediately, right? Who did this?
Exactly. And the Minnesota BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, they moved fast. Identified him as Vance Luther Bolter.
Vance Luther Bolter. 52 years old, resident of Green Isle, Minnesota. That's Sibley County.
Correct. Sources also mention ties to Onamia, maybe other rural spots.
And his background. The reports say initially not a significant violent criminal record.
Seems that way, but they're digging deep now, scrutinizing everything, looking for any patterns, any escalation of extremism they might have missed before.
Which leads us to motive. Law enforcement hasn't definitively stated one yet.
No, not officially, but the preliminary findings, especially looking at his online stuff, his digital footprint.
Yeah. What are the sources saying there?
It strongly points towards extreme anti-government, anti-establishment views. That seems to be the driving force.
And this is where it gets, really specific according to the sources, his social media, online forums.
A pattern. Increasingly aggressive, vitriolic rhetoric.
And not just general anger, right?
Yeah.
Targeted.
Exactly. Explicitly targeting Democrats, including Senator Hoffman and Speaker Hortman by name, apparently, and DFL policies in Minnesota.
Wow. Do the sources give examples of the language he used?
They do. Things like tyranny, government overreach, socialist agendas. There were calls for patriot action against perceived threats.
Patriot action. Okay.
Yeah.
And investigators looking for a manifesto or anything like that.
Yes. Actively searching for any other written declarations that could shed more light on his intent.
Now, there was some initial noise, maybe confusion, about his political leanings.
Right. Some early reports tried to link him to, quote, left-wing extremist groups.
But the sources we have are clear on this.
Overwhelmingly clear, yes. The evidence from his online presence points strongly, consistently, to far-right, anti-government, anti-establishment ideology.
So no credible link to mainstream Democratic groups at all.
None whatsoever, according to the reports. His digital trail suggests a progressive radicalization, but within that anti-government sphere, often fueled by conspiracy theories, deep distrust of the system.
Okay. Understanding that seems crucial for law enforcement, figuring out the why and maybe his next moves.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the manhunt.
Launched immediately. Extensive, urgent, across multiple counties.
Huge effort. Minnesota State Patrol, BCA, FBI, lots of local police, Champlin, Brooklyn Park, Minneapolis, Hennepin, Anoka, Spilly counties.
And they put out shelter-in-place orders pretty quick.
Very quickly. For residents in Champlin, Brooklyn Park, parts of Maple Grove, Eagan too, stay indoors, lock everything, report anything suspicious. Basic safety procedure in these situations.
And they're using a lot of resources in the search.
Significant resources. Drones, canine units, tactical teams, scouring areas he might know, urban, rural.
And the status now, as of today, Tuesday the 17th.
Vance Luther Bolter is still at large. There's a nationwide alert out. He's considered armed and extremely dangerous.
And the plea to the public is clear.
Absolutely. Extreme caution. Do not approach him if you see him. Call 911 immediately. That's the message authorities are stressing.
And his being out there still, it's causing a lot of anxiety.
Understandably. Heightened fear across the state. You see it in the constant news updates, the advisories.
Governor Walz has weighed in.
Yes. Pledged all state resources to catch Bolter. Also called for unity, calm. A very difficult time for Minnesota.
So, pulling back, looking at the bigger picture from these sources, what's the significance of this event?
Well, the consensus in the reports is that this is just unprecedented. Targeted political violence like this in recent Minnesota history, it's sent shockwaves.
Statewide, definitely, but resonating nationally, too.
Oh, absolutely. And it really throws that dangerous trajectory of political polarization, violent extremism into sharp relief.
Something the sources discuss a lot.
Yeah.
Lawmakers, analysts, commentators.
Yeah, across different platforms, ABC News, NPR, even the New York Post are mentioned. Grave concerns that the rhetoric, especially online in partisan media,
that it contributes to an environment where this kind of thing becomes, well, more likely, seen as justified by some.
Exactly. It creates a space for radicalization. The sources show a range of reactions, too. Well, they mention Fox News commentator Jack Brewer calling for examining rhetoric on all sides, needing de-escalation. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem condemned the violence.
Though some sources noted her language was seen by some as politically charged itself.
Right. And Senator Amy Klobuchar expressing sorrow, but also emphasizing the need to address the root causes of the violence and division.
So it's sparking a necessary, if uncomfortable, conversation across the board.
Definitely. And immediately you see discussions about lawmaker safety, security protocol.
Especially for state and local officials, right? They're often much more accessible.
Exactly. And the reports document growing calls now for more funding, better security measures.
It brings back bad memories, doesn't it? The sources mention comparisons.
Yeah, the shooting of Congresswoman Gabby Giffords in 2011 is mentioned. It feeds into broader concerns about just the safety climate for anyone in public service now.
And back in Minnesota, how's the state government responding?
The legislature suspended non-essential activities indefinitely. Time for mourning Senator Hoffman, supporting Speaker Hortman.
And the tributes for Hoffman, they just keep coming. Consistently remembered as dedicated, a good colleague.
Yes, and Speaker Hortman, she's a powerful figure, leader of the House DFL. The sources are portraying her now as sort of a symbol of resilience for the state.
Her recovery, her eventual return, it will carry a lot of weight.
Huge symbolic weight, yeah, for everyone trying to process this.
Ultimately, the sources really frame this as part of that larger national conversation. State of democracy, role of extreme rhetoric.
Civil discourse. How do we even maintain that? Publications like the Wall Street Journal are analyzing the implications, election cycle, political stability.
It raises those tough questions, doesn't it? The line between legitimate protest, free speech, and incitement.
It really does. Where is that line?
So, looking back at everything the sources showed us today.
Key points. The tragic loss of Senator Hoffman. Speaker Hortman severely wounded, recovering. The ongoing manhunt for Vance Bolter tied to that anti-government extremism.
Revealed by his online trail. And it's all a stark reminder, isn't it? The dangers of political violence, toxic rhetoric.
Absolutely. And the sources really underscore that need for de-escalation, peaceful engagement, trying to address the root causes of radicalization.
A nationwide effort, really.
It has to be, and there's that final tension you see running through the reports.
Between accessibility and safety.
Exactly. Public servants need to be accessible. That's democracy. But the threats are increasing in this polarized time.
So that leaves you, the listener, with something to think about based on these sources. How do we, as a society, actually navigate that essential balance between keeping our elected officials accessible and keeping them safe?